maybe be guided to do and say the things that bring value to each other and support each other and get the most out of our time together this morning. Thank you.
All right. New and good. I'll go first. I had my stand-up comedy show Sunday night in LA. First time at the Comedy Store.
Hey!
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. And, I got asked to be to do a show at the Improv, so I'll be at the Improv.
Nice.
On the 23rd of this month. So.
Nice.
Things are happening to me now. All right.
Hey.
That's cool, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
I'll go next. So this coming Tuesday, I teach my first class at our broker's office in Illinois as the broker development manager. So I'm excited about that. New audience, new material. So I got some work cut out for me this weekend to get that understood and in a much more entertaining format.
Okay.
Awesome. Good for you. Great.
I'll jump in. New and good for me. We just hired a new consultant from Houston, and he's a lifesaver. Guy has made my life delightful in the last couple of days. So that is a very new and a very good thing.
Yeah, that is good.
And doggone it, I like myself.
Well, I'm in a good mood because Rod's back. I'm actually speaking in 3 hours this morning. I'm doing my presentation for a new CrossFit gym that just opened up, and they want to talk about goals and all that stuff. So
nice.
There you go. Yeah. And that drug court wants to hire me for more sessions, not only for the people going through drug court, but they want all their staff to go through it too. So I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I'll see if I have time.
Fantastic.
That sounds like a paid gig too.
Yes, they both will. And so, yeah, feeling good.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Brian?
In the past couple days, I've come to a realization that I'm not on track for my breakthrough goal, and I need to make some changes. And Chris has helped me out with some good advice. Sandra Grace has helped me out with some good advice on that. And I made a commitment in the next 3 weeks to research and make a decision on a course of action. I'm not going to stay where I'm at. Something's going to change. And I have a list of possibilities or something better. And I know I haven't done any of these things because they're uncomfortable and scary. Part of the process. So things are going to change.
What is the breakthrough goal, if I may ask?
1,000 deals, closed deals in real estate in 2017.
Nice.
That's cool, man. You can do it.
That's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
That's great.
We made progress this week. I think that gave us some confidence to push forward.
Oh, we've done so much stuff has happened. Yeah. Joanna has been key to this.
I was actually there in between the times we've seen each other. I just got back to Oklahoma yesterday.
Rockstar.
All right.
It wasn't because I was gone.
All right, good. Well, let's get to the presentations. I wasn't sure, Rod, if you were going to be ready, so I switched it around for Brian to go first. Okay, going first, or does it matter?
Totally cool. I would let you guys down 2 weeks in a row. I probably wouldn't be invited back.
Rod, you can go first. I defer to you. You can go, please.
Man. Okay, let me write my PowerPoint real quick. Hold on.
Great class, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Well, do us a favor. Set us up for your audience would be for this.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Hold on.
And do we want to talk about that on Google Drive to type in those things, the topic, message, audience?
We will after. We'll let him get into it, and we'll see if we got time at the end to do that.
And do we want to put our feedback in there? Is that what we're planning on doing?
We can. I think we're going to give I set it up, if you saw the agenda, for 15 minutes presentation, 15 minutes of feedback, and then so it ends up being 70 minutes. for the meeting.
Just a couple
Rod,
of questions. A little quality assurance check here, folks. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Is that a yes from Joanna and Brian as well? Yes,
Yes.
across the board. Okay. Just some context before I jump in. I'm going to have some fun with this. I've had a few TTT grads calling me and asking me if they could have my slides on Stop the Ride. I honestly didn't realize that this speech that I gave in Palm Springs would be this successful. So I'm having fun with it. I'm building a TED Talk right now as we speak, and I'm going to act like I'm invited to Philadelphia here on this as a keynote speaker for the Canfield group for the BTS coming up in April. So just to give you guys some context. Any questions on that?
We're good? I'm good, I should say. Didn't speak for other people.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the invite. My name is Rod Jant. I'm a TTT graduate of the Jack Canfield methodology. I was invited out here to Philadelphia for this glorious day to talk about a specific topic of one of the success principles called unleashing the power of goal setting and releasing the brakes. I put some slides together here for you. And the first one we're going to talk about is just basically that feeling that we all have, whether we verbalize it, whether we articulate it, whether we write it down or share it with our friends. We seem to have this feeling of being stuck. I'm stuck in life. I'm stuck in my relationships. I can't seem to get moving forward in my life. To a certain degree, I feel like I'm just a number. I'm a number at work, like the old credenza of filing punch cards and putting it on the wall. How do I break out of this? How do I get moving forward? I know there's something more in my life. I know I've been called to do something special, but how do I get there? And these are the types of questions that we consider on a daily basis, but yet we come to the end of the day, we go to bed at night, and we continue to feel this solitude of being stuck. When I was out at Palm Springs, I gave a speech to the TTT community. It was called Stop the Ride. Throughout this theme, you're going to see some red symbolism and specific topics to hitting the button in life. And when we think about being stuck in life, we really truly have to ask ourselves, how did we get here? I've done everything right, have I not? I went to school, got my high school diploma, then I went and got my undergrad, I got a master's degree. I think I got a good job. Everybody tells me I have a fabulous wife, my kids in college. I'm doing all the right things. I feel like I've met my parents' expectations. My neighbors, when I go outside to get the mail or mow the yard, they tend to say that I appear to be successful. But there's this feeling that it's still just not enough. I can't seem to find the fulfillment in my life that I'm so deeply wanting. I can't find my purpose. There doesn't seem to be an authentic voice. Quite honestly, there's just something I'm missing. There's something more I want. And I truly need to hit this stop button. I need to stop this insanity. And quite honestly, I need to stop this ride that I'm in life and find clarity. As we go through the ups and downs of life, it is that of a roller coaster to a certain degree. I've accomplished certain credentials on diplomas. I've met certain promotions. I've met a certain wage of expectation in my income. I'm told that if I achieve these things on a personal, financial contribution basis, that I should be able to plateau and find happiness in life. I'll find happiness in my finances. I should find happiness in my relationships. I should find happiness in my health. I want to feel good and be fit. I want to be happy in my job. But ultimately, it's about being happy in my personal life with my family and meeting development goals. So why do we wander in this imagery of a roller coaster ride aimlessly through life with no goal and no purpose? Well, let's take a look at how we came into the world. We were taught at a very young age, to go to school, to do your homework, and to be respectful to your parents. But were we really ever taught how to establish goals in life? Has it ever really been modeled in our life? Maybe some of us have had the good fortune of parents that have modeled a roadmap of how to be successful. But quite honestly, this slide is meant to be tongue-in-cheek to a certain degree. We foolishly kid ourselves that we're prepared for our job, that we're prepared for life. But quite honestly, we don't have the right tools, and we consider ourselves to be prepared. But when the what-ifs come into our life, we seem to be ill-equipped, and quite honestly, we're almost childish in our ways. So what is the solution? I met Jack Canfield back in February of 2016 at Newport Beach, California, and I enrolled for the Train the Trainer program and went through the BTS that I'm here today. It's a fantastic program, but the key topic that I took away for the solution of Stop the Ride was a quote that Jack said. The one thing that sets high achievers apart from ordinary people is that high achievers set goals. Now, it's not that I haven't heard this before, but perhaps the student was ready and the teacher arrived. Perhaps it was just the right time for me. As I sat out there in the third row, similar to you, I needed to hear it at that time in my life. And so I decided to get involved. I decided to ignite. I decided to get very action-oriented in my life. I wanted to be specific with my goal. I wanted it to have a timeline of measurement to it so that I could say how much and by when. We'll talk more in a breakout workshop here. I've only got 15 minutes of stage time, but we're going to delve into things such as process goals, result goals. What does that mean? A process goal basically means the journey in getting to the end result. If I want to lose 15 pounds by March 31st, then perhaps I need to lose 3 pounds per week for the next 5 weeks. So putting together a roadmap that's specific, that's measurable, that keeps me accountable with a specific deadline helps me achieve these process and result goals. And once again, I welcome those in the crowd that would like to sit with me down the hallway in room 12, where we will dive deeper into how we orchestrate and create process and result goals. As an example of some of the things I've done in my life, here's a vision board. It's a good thing some of it is in small font because I'm not sure if we should be reading everything I put there under business professional, but I update this every 3 months of my life. It can be pictorials, such as down there in health and fitness of a body that perhaps you want. It can be a narrative. It can be a house under the personal. It can be a dog that you want to adopt. The point is to understand that there's different swim lanes when we say, what do you want? When we ask ourselves, what is it I want? What is it I want? What am I not getting enough out of my life? What we're going to go through in the workshop is we're going to break down specific swim lanes: financial, business, professional, job, career, relationships, the health and fitness, maybe the legacy that you want to leave behind, personal development goals, and then fun time and recreational. I don't want to take up too much of the stage time on vision board development, but this is a very powerful tool to keep in front of you on a daily basis that keeps manifesting what you want to bring into your life. One of my specific goals back when I met Jack in February of 2016 was to obtain this certificate, this diploma. I set a goal to be November 30th, 2016 by 12 p.m. to be a TTT graduate in Jack Canfield's program. And I can proudly say I obtained that 10 days before the deadline. So as we get to closure here, we really need to ask ourselves, what is the cost in our lives for not setting goals? Maybe it is time to hit the stop button. Maybe it is time to stop the ride, to hit a pause, take a step back, and ask yourself, what is it costing me in money by not having specific, measurable, how much by when types of money goals? What is it costing me by not having process goals for health? What is it costing me in relationships with my family, my wife, my neighbors, my significant others, my coworkers? What is it costing me in the unfulfillment in my life, waking up each and every day and not having a true roadmap of how to get there, who to speak to, and having a collective body to talk to? It's time to stop being a number in life. You don't need to be the punch card filed away. You're more than that. You're part of a team. You're part of a community. You are just enough, exactly who you are today. But perhaps walking through life foolishness, dressed as a child, perhaps we don't have the right tools. So I welcome you. I welcome all of you to please talk to me in the back of the room, come down to the hallway to our workshop. Feel free to stop and give me a business card. But I'd love to say hello and hi to you. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Good job, Rob. Just so you know, you went 10 minutes and 50 seconds.
Cool. I wanted to do right around 10, so that's perfect.
All right. Does anybody want to go first?
It's kind of different through a monitor, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'll go first, man. I really liked it. I like the idea of the stop button. I really felt like your presentation was good because you were really, I felt like trying to bring out the emotion of that frustration, the stuck, the fear of just letting life pass you by. I thought you really kind of hit that, and that might call people to action, like to come see you in your workshop room. So I did like that a lot. Just out of curiosity, are you speaking with Jack at all, or is this just an idea that you want to do?
I've been speaking with Kathleen Seeley,
okay.
And I've been speaking with Veronica, and a little bit with Patty just in the last week, but I can't seem to get through to Jack. He's not replying.
Okay. So this speech, though, is designed if you could speak at BTS, right?
Completely conceptual only. I have no action item to be there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I liked it a lot. My one thing, I thought that a first emergency stop button in the beginning, you had a lot of words, where it said, I'm successful from my neighbors, parents' expectations. I just felt like on that slide, I think the stop button and emergency stop would probably be enough, because you said all the words on the screen. I didn't gain anything by reading them, because then you were saying them, but I was a little distracted from what you were saying while I was reading them, if that makes sense.
It does.
I thought that one slide was just a little wordy for me. Let me see. And I really loved your vision board slide. I like that you shared something personal like that. That was really good. I might steal that from you. Hey,
that's my Joanne Fabrics intellectual property at its finest, brother.
Nice.
Borrow.
I can't give it away.
As far as I know, I'm the only one in Albuquerque, so I can steal whatever I want. You guys will never know. So, yeah, I liked it a lot. And just your last slide, I don't know if you noticed it, with the team, it said, I'm part of a team and I am enough, but there was a question mark instead of like an exclamation point or a period, I think, because I think you're trying to say I am enough.
Yeah, I meant to make it a statement. Thank you. I didn't want a question there.
Yeah, there's a question mark on that one. So
you're good.
And then last but not least, I was into it, Rad. I thought it was really good. You mentioned 2 or 3 times my stage time. And I guess maybe it is if you're a BTS. For me, it kind of took me out of the story.
Okay.
You know, maybe save that for the very end. Just like, this is all the time I have, but I'm gonna, you know. But when you said it 2 or 3 times, it just took me out of the focus I was in with you.
Excellent. Thank you for the critique.
But excellent job. I liked it. I'm done.
All right. I'm going to piggyback on that. Look, Rod, you're going to rock this thing. I can see it, these pieces. So I've got more very next level-y kind of things. The first one is I want to piggyback on what Matt said, that 15 minutes of stage time, those kind of, just take it out and make your speech.
Got it.
And just go, look, guys, I'd love to talk to you more. I'm in one of the breakout rooms. Give me a card, this kind of thing. That ending we would have had would have been enough. So it keeps, so that broke the connection for me also. You know what I mean? I was getting into it and you're like, you know, I mean, it wasn't germane.
Got it.
All right. The other piece is, I would, for the other piece, has anybody ever felt like this? You know, one of those deals. Have you ever felt frustrated? I know I have. You know, and you know, like that little tweak, as opposed to we all these things. Have you ever felt that?
That's
like
good.
that raising of the hand and me going, I felt frustrated. I've felt frustrated. I know I have, and we all do that. So I think just that little tweak will bring it in a little more. We'll bring the crowd in.
Fantastic critique. Thank you.
The other part that I would say is and you might want to explore this one is the first probably 5 minutes or 4 minutes, I'm not sure exactly how long, was all frustration.
Right.
For me, I was like it was a little too much. I'd like you to see, like, we've all felt frustrated. Well, I'm going to talk to you about how to find the solution. And then maybe go back to the frustration. If you think of it as kind of a story, right? You kind of front loaded the frustration piece. So I would rather see it go, frustration, yeah, I agree with that, but I have a solution. Oh, yay! But we all have that frustration. Oh, but here's what I'm talking about, as opposed to frustration, and then getting to your solution.
Okay, that's good. I was looking at my outline here. I've got, my point being frustration. It's funny you brought that up.
Yeah.
And then I've got justifying, awareness of reality, reasons of why you're frustrated, solution, action steps. But I probably, for a 10-minute speech, 5 minutes of it being frustration, it's not loaded properly. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, when I always talk about it, I think you did a really good job, is you were telling a story. But I like the story is, I'm telling you the story, you grab me in, like, have you ever felt frustrated? Yeah, I have. Yeah. Talk to me about, well, I've got a way, I want to, teach you how to fix that. And you're going to teach me how to fix that? Then I'm kind of engaged more. And then you can talk about frustration again, then bring it back. But look, there's a way out of this. It's like you're pulling in and go, feeling the frustration. You're changing their emotional state. So if you kind of look at your thing, I think you could move things around a little bit, and it'll pull me in a little more.
All right, cool.
The other technical piece, just real quickly, is move your text up. Text on the bottom of the slide is a general no-no. And when we're doing the webinar, just for everybody in general, like, I put the screen on the very bottom so I can see your face still. So I would strongly suggest that the text move up. And at the very end, instead of, I would say, I encourage you. I forget exactly what your phraseology was. Is I encourage you to come and speak to me after the meeting. Give me a business card or come to me. Just let the word of encouragement, I think, would have been a better phraseology. So overall, I thought it was you're really polished, and most of this stuff is really just taking it to the next level. So
got it. Cool. Thank you.
I loved your slides. I was wowed by the slides.
Oh yeah.
And I've done slides and watched Chris' presentation. When you mentioned, when I was sitting right where you are in the third row, I know from being at 2 BTSs, I can tell you where I was sitting, who was sitting next to me, what my view of the stage was in those aha moments. So maybe expand on that just a little bit. That's the first time that I could visualize that position, where I felt like I was in that moment of, I remember when I was sitting there. That's a powerful place, I think, even for first time people, because they've probably already had a couple of those moments where they were just so glad they were there. A little earlier on, that was probably about halfway through. I felt like that's where my connection was with you, with emotionally. Maybe expand on the story of, I went to college, I graduated in 4 years, and maybe expand on a personal story. So you kind of went through more like a resume, but I think if you could say, what are the things you've done that checked off your list? Who's proud of you for getting that first job, or expand on that so they can put themselves in that moment earlier.
Make it a little bit more personal. Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit of a story, because you did a lot of telling and it was really good visualization. I could always tell where you're going next. But the story part wasn't there early enough for me to, I would have leaned forward, I think, earlier if that had been there. And it pretty kind of what Chris said, in an essay format, tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. So in the moment, they're right in there, but they're wondering what they're going to get out of it. What are you going to do? How is this going to help me? Yes, we're frustrated, but I'm going to give you the solutions to getting out of that rut, or offer you some opportunity to look at this a different way. And I know where you were trying to go with the pitching your breakout, pre-selling it, kind of teasing it a little bit. I think as simple words as saying, we'll have an opportunity to continue this discussion later. So, you're not totally leaving them hanging, but you're not sending them mentally out of the room and down the hall and on a bathroom break before they see you.
Okay.
I like the idea that you were trying to tease the follow-up, but I think you could do it in just that simple, we'll have an opportunity to talk later.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. It was great.
All right, Rod. Tell me again, what was your message?
To stop the ride, which was the metaphor of your life that is not fulfilling your purpose, and to put goals in front of you that can be measured in time specific, and getting out of the randomness of up and down.
Okay. So condense that down to one short sentence. What's your message?
Stop and find clarity.
Stop and find clarity. Okay. Okay. So I got that. That's why I just want to ask that, to clarify that. What worked well for me is some of your slides were very colorful. They were very graphic in there. And at first I thought maybe there's too much information on there. And then I thought to myself, it's on the screen, it's staying on the screen, so I can follow you that way too. So I actually didn't mind that, because I could follow you that way. It's right in front of me. I mean, I'm staring at my computer. In this setting, it worked well for me. From what I've heard so far from everybody else, I don't want to reiterate anything on that message of what everybody else said. So what would have worked better for me in, number one, did you connect with the audience, and did you get your message across? So for me, connecting with me, I statements work better. Because if you say we, and it doesn't fit for me, I'm not going to connect with you.
Okay.
I blocked you out because it's, Rod, you're not talking to me because that doesn't fit for me. Maybe some of it does. But if you said I can relate to you. Oh, okay, yeah, I can relate to that. I can see that. It gets brought up a lot in my group in my office. They use a lot of you statements. When you do this, you do this. No, I don't know that because I don't do that. So then I rephrase that as an I statement is my suggestion for you.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I got.
Fantastic feedback. I've been putting this slide, and I've got like 25 other slides, but for my company, I spent some money specifically on what they call neural programming, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, right? See, I don't even know how to spell it, for God's sakes. But something that I've been working on is left brain, right brain. So the linear, obviously the words on the slide make your left brain have to read it. And then the imagery of the child, for example, with the hard hat is creativity, imagination, and profound, right? So it's supposed to confuse the audience intentionally to hook you to pay attention to the content. And it's interesting because I've done this on a few pilots, and I keep hearing that type of feedback, kind of what Brian said. It was a lot at first, but yet it made me stay with it. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do, rather than just being a picture, because then you kind of wander, right? Thank you very much, though, guys.
Awesome. Good job, Rod.
Can I add one thing about the slides? You stayed on them the right amount of time. So whatever this pace was, if you're adding slides, be sure you've added minutes, because I know as a participant, sometimes I see a slide I really like and I want to write notes, and then I miss the content because I'm trying to write it down. And I'm so wishing the speaker could go back to the previous one. So whatever this pace is, if that's been intentional, keep that up, because I think what Brian hit on was it was a lot of information, but it was there long enough to absorb it.
Cool. Thank you. Good stuff, guys. I really appreciate the feedback.
Okay. All right, Brian, are you ready?
Ready for what?
Sorry,
Are you ready for some football?
I was thinking of the UFC or whatever it was. Are you ready for some pain? You know.
No, I'm not ready for some pain. No.
Not going to be painful for any of us.
Are you ready for love and encouragement? That's the first thing that came into
I'm anxious though. I feel like I've been watching this over his shoulder all week, but I have no idea what he's going to say.
So I'm going to embarrass the hell out of Joanna in my speech.
I'm kind of afraid of that.
Nice. Good for you.
Glad you guys know me and that you have a different opinion already.
And before I get started, I want to share some stuff here. My audience that I'm speaking to at this is really the people in my real estate office. Their friends, their family. They know of Jack Canfield. They know a lot of the work because I've done presentations with. I've done workshops with them before. I've got another workshop coming up on Valentine's Day. So my original intention was to use this as more of the warm-up for it. And I may or may not, or this may be just a 15-minute whatever. So, but that's the audience, because so if I speak to people and if I use Jack or Jack Canfield in it, they know who I'm talking about. It's not a brand new audience to that. I just want to clarify that up front. I was going to tell you what my topic is about ahead of time here. It's about visualization, and the message I'm really talking about is see what you want and get what you see. And I'm telling you ahead of time, if you don't get it in the slides or you don't get it in the message, see if I get that comes across.
Okay.
And this is new and interesting, doing it this way. Doing it on these things, just
Tricky.
so it should be fun. Before I get started too, can everybody hear me clearly? Okay, so there's no, all right. Okay. All right, let me screen share. All right. Am I ready? Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Set. Go. That didn't work, did it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Hey there.
It showed up. All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
You're good.
No porn? Okay, good. All right. So, welcome, and thank you for coming to the next Success Principles workshop. I really appreciate everybody taking their time to be here today. And let's get started. I'd like to start with a few cartoons here to get in the right mood here. So I don't know, been a bit of snow going on, so a couple snowmen talking to each other. You should see someone about that. Oh no, oh God no. blood and guts everywhere. We've talked about this. Your profile said you have lots of dark wavy hair. Oh, I do. It's on my back. I know there was some other people here talking about that here today. So, you know, Chris, Rod. I'm starting to really like the smell of cocaine. I'm dressed for success. Of course, my idea of success may not be exactly the same as yours. All right. So, February 8th, 2015. Almost 2 years ago. And on that date, I saw something. Now, where was I? I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. I was in a house that was probably over 100 years old. Be in mind where I live in Aurora, Illinois, if anything gets even close to old, they knock it down and start over, or the city condemns it. Actually, in the city of Aurora, they have certain standards that they will condemn a place, hence the Department of Property Standards. So I'm in this house in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's over 100 years old, and I'm there with Joanna. Well, everybody here knows Joanna. Wave, Joanna. Hi, Joanna. And be in mind, I'm dating Joanna at this point, and I had a rule a few years prior to that, as I wouldn't date anybody that lived more than 5 minutes from my home. So this is a big leap here. I'm in this house in Tulsa, Oklahoma, this 100-year-old house, totally unfamiliar to me, okay? So I saw something. I saw this. Now, I had vaguely been familiar with vision boards, dream boards, those types of things, and I saw this, and it just caught my eye. I didn't quite know how to digest this. So I looked at it, and I actually took a picture of it the first time I saw it, because Joanna told me that these are things that she's working on, that she wants to get to. And I took it pretty seriously. All right, great. I like Joanna. Joanna likes these things. Great. Let me figure this stuff out. So I was trying to figure out what this all was saying on here. Everything that was on here, I was trying to figure out what it was. And when I talked to Joanna about it, it really came to the conclusion of what she wants is freedom. I don't know if you could see that written on there. She scribbled that out on there, and it was all those things is to help her achieve freedom in life. And over that next 12 months, sorry, my freedom didn't work real well. Sorry about that. But if you take a look at here, there's a watch on here. Joanna wanted a watch, and she wanted to buy herself this watch when she retired. She's wearing it right now, I bet you. Are you wearing it right now, Joanna? Look at that. Okay. I go through on lots of different things. She had a real estate training course called Realtor Rehab. We did that quite a few different times, and she's done even more of that. Houses. She went to just in Paris in November. I'm just going through all the little things in here, and there's tons of this stuff in here that it happened. So within a year's period of time, I didn't make this, obviously, Joanna did. We had a great year. That year was just it was fantastic. Not to say the next year wasn't. I'm just saying, visualizing those things and seeing those things, Joanna couldn't see the end result of how to get to there. She knew where she wanted to go. And I saw a different way of getting her there on those things. It was a novel concept for me to really see that in her. So let's talk about another story here. April 6, 2016. Actually, April 7th, 2016 is a day that we actually had a presentation in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We were teaching a course, all-day course. And it was great. It's something that we really worked for and worked towards, and we had building up different courseworks to have this full-day course. And after the course was done, we had some challenges coming home in Tulsa. Joanna has 2 kids, and it was a pretty traumatic event for everybody that night. Joanna's ex-husband staged in an event, basically scaring his kids. It was a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old, 2 boys, to be deathly afraid of me and Joanna, and they acted out. And Joanna went and punished them and took away their cell phones, and they just flipped out, and they ran away from home. And we were freaked out and figuring out what the heck's going on. And when we figured out it was a staged event to show that there was some kind of craziness in the household, it was just, to me, it was a crushing experience to be a part of that. That somebody could manipulate a 10 and 11-year-old and scare them to that level for what it was. A horrible experience. Having somebody's kids ripped away from you, I mean, that was the experience that I was part of. And Joanna had lost her kids. I've never experienced something like that in my life. That was so horrific to be a part of that, involved with that, seeing Joanna go through that kind of pain. It was wrong on a scale that I didn't even know. There was police involved. The police came, and it all came very crystal clear that this was a bunch of crap that was going on, and that we didn't do anything wrong in the situation. Somebody else had staged this whole event to make it look like there's problems so they could bring it up in court for child custody issues, for alimony issues, for custody and support issues, financial issues. So on April 8th, the next day, that was a Friday, we were talking to attorneys, all this other types of stuff, trying to have a plan of attack and figure out how can we solve this situation. So Joanna wasn't in the best of moods, and neither was I. And I figured we need to make a change. So on April 8th, it was in the evening, I said, well, actually, I was in a pretty bad mood myself, and I was probably being a little too loud on a subject, and I knew I needed to shift it real quick. So I told Joanna to go onto Pinterest. Show of hands, who's familiar with Pinterest? Okay, all right, good. So this was her new vision board, was on Pinterest essentially. So I told her to go look on Pinterest and figure out where she wanted to go with life. What does she want? You know, what was the bigger picture of stuff? And within 15 minutes, she said, I don't know how you did it, but you just totally changed the whole mood of everything. And we were focused on where we wanted to go and what we wanted. And these are the pictures that she was looking at on Pinterest. This is where she wanted her life to go to. And I wanted to see Joanna happy. And what happened from there? A very short time frame later, on May 27th, 2016, we now own this place right here, which is very similar to her Pinterest page here. This is the home that we bought in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we decided very quickly in April, within a day or so, actually it was decided by the end of the weekend, that this was the place. And I asked Joanna, do you want to buy it? She said, I don't remember exactly what it was, but like it wasn't possible. So what do you mean it's not? I mean, it totally is possible. No, I don't have the down payment. I don't have the mortgage set up. Do you want to buy the home? Everything put aside. This is what you want, right? She goes, yeah. Okay. Let's do it. So we did. She didn't quite see that path, but I did see that path. I saw what she wanted. I wanted her to get there. I wanted to get there with her. And this is what we call Happy Hollow. Actually, it's on Sleepy Hollow Drive. We call it Happy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow didn't sound really good. And it's on 2 acres. It's got a pool. It's got a chicken coop. It's got all kinds of stuff on this piece of land. And it's fun. And that's me on closing day. Well, this is, moving day, actually, when I moved in. I was so exhausted with everything. And the only towel I could find was a Hello Kitty towel. So I thought that was fun. See what you want, get what you see. I couldn't realize how it was just that simple. It was just that clear, that focusing on what you want, visualizing that, putting that in front of you every day will help you to get to where you want to go. And realize that I do it every day. I visualize good stuff and bad stuff, and that helps to fulfill those things, good and bad. And Joanna, I wanted her to be happy. I focused on those things that would make her happy, and it happened. And it's just as simple as this. I hope everybody's seen some of this, a visual before. You can go through the maze in life, or you can just go right to it and get your cheese. Okay, Who Moved My Cheese? I don't know if everybody's familiar with that book, but I don't know if I even read it. I'm sure I got it as a gift, So, but I always like the visualization of that. So now I figure this: if visualization is that powerful, and that vision board was that powerful for me, why don't I put that on it so I can get this? So I put this on Joanna's vision board. So hopefully it could come back to me. So I thought it was humorous. Anyways. But this is my vision board that I made, and I've adapted. And this is probably about a year ago, give or take, that I made for myself. And there's something on this vision board that I just want to share with you. It's a little picture right up here. I'll show you a bigger picture of it. It's a fake door. It's a big poster of a hidden door. And it's a small thing that's been on my vision board for quite a long time. And it's actually made it onto my new vision board. Because I have 3 different vision boards. I have an idea board, a vision board, and a success board. And I thought it was so powerful, I made that a part of my daily practice in everything I do. Put an idea up. If it turns into a vision, then that's what I'm focused on. And then put it on the success board if I've accomplished it. So that little picture of that hidden door has been on there for quite a while, ever since I've had the vision board. And this is the front hallway of my new home, our new home, Joanna and I's new home. We have lots of homes. And got the red carpet going there. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I didn't physically do it, somebody else did, a hidden door. It's a mirror. But if you push onto it, it's the door to the basement. So something as simple as that. Something as little as that. Little picture. I wanted it. There was no place it was going to happen where I was currently living before, where I was living previous to this, that would happen. This is where I'm at. And this is where I'm living in now. And even the littlest picture of visualizing that can happen. I want to encourage everybody to create those visualizations in your life, because even the littlest of things can happen if you make that your focus. Thank you. I'm done. Keep in mind, I would roll into the next part of my presentation. So.
Very nice, very nice, very nice.
I want a fake door too. I love that.
It's the smallest detail in our new place, but
I love it.
Cool.
love it. I love it.
And I have a full-length mirror.
Yeah. That was great. 15 minutes and 6 seconds, Brian.
Yeah, actually, I love it. I took Jack's advice on speeches, and I put more content than I needed, and actually cut out a few things, because I would have had 2 extra minutes. I would have said, and now I want to end with some blatant advertisements. And I had a clip, 2 different clips. So,
Well, look, I'll go first here. Brian, that was awesome. You know, when you talk about, you know, what you're, you know, see what you want, get what you see as being your, you know, your message, that came across loud and clear. The other part was I didn't take that many notes because I was just engaged by the stories. And I think this is something for maybe all of us to learn, is those stories up front are really the things that kind of pull us in, and you really pulled me in. I thought it was a good lead in. Like the first story was you know, started pulling me in when you started talking about the experience with, you know, with Joanna's kids. I was just I completely forgot to keep notes. I was just completely engaged by that. I thought that was a really powerful kind of turn that you made in the speech. So for me, I thought really it worked extremely well as far as connecting and getting your message across. I liked it best. I guess I should say this. The whole thing I liked it best when you started talking about for what you wanted, right? And it was interesting because, you know, I wanted this for Joanna, so it was interesting to kind of to hear that piece to it. Like I wanted her to be happy, so I put these things. There's some little tweak there that you might be able to make it even more impactful. I can't tell you what it is right off the top of my head, but it was kind of like, well, why did you want that for? I wanted her to be happy. I wanted to have a great relationship with her. And, you know, something along the lines of, you know, I know it's important to make when I'm in a relationship, to make other people's priorities my priorities. Something along that line, I think would have even brought me in deeper on that piece, just something like that. So I'll let the other guys talk to it. I would suggest moving your text though, and this is just a minor tweak, moving the text off the bottom up to the top and doing a full bleed, which means if you saw what Rod did, it would have worked better for me if you had a complete full picture and put the text on top of it. When you're presenting, the white background washes out the pictures that you're having. Again, the thing I recommended is just a black background.
No, when you gave that thing on Thursday, I was actually doing this on the side, and as soon as you said it, I'm like, crap, I'm halfway through it in white. Damn it, Chris.
But really, these were just minor things to me. I really think you hit your points.
Okay, thank you.
I'll jump in. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'll go last because we can do what we need to offline. That your feedback's important.
Okay, I'll start with what worked for me, and then I'll conclude with what could have worked better for me. The connection of the vision board when you visited Joanna, I put that as my first connection to your story. The trip of a lifetime, more time for what matters, which was on her board, expressing a sense of freedom. I would have liked to have heard more what that did for you by understanding Joanna's freedom, because it appeared to me that the vision board stimulated something in you as well, to the degree of you creating your own vision boards of ideas, vision, and success. I thought at first your flow was choppy and that your jokes were not in line with the crowd because nobody was smiling on the cameras, but yet you were laughing. But when you got to where you did the Rolex joke and the pool photo, that made me smile, and I looked on the screen and everybody was smiling. So timing of jokes is kind of a sensitive thing. I'm not very good at it. I think Chris is a natural, of course, but be careful on that. If that's not natural for you, try not to push it as a joke. That would just be my 2 cents worth. But ultimately, I think the vision brings in reality. How do we manifest that reality? By visually looking at the board. I would have liked to have seen some action, just some verbal action steps of meditation, maybe affirmations, of how you do that, opposed to it just being on a board. And honestly, I know that vision boards work because just by looking at it, for some reason, it happens in my life. And that's the magic, and I don't get it either. But maybe somebody in the crowd might want to hear more. That I just made a note of that. I thought at first it lacked a little enthusiasm, and it got a little dark with the kids. It could have moved on quicker for me. I was starting to look at the floor a tad. I was thinking, boy, is this a success workshop or kind of a midlife crisis story? Because I was starting to go, wow, where's this going to go? And then when you brought it back to April 8th of 2016, which was the day after, and then she went to Pinterest, which pulled Joanna out of the hole and got her thinking, where does she want to go? Then it made sense to me. I just would have liked you've got to that a little bit quicker. I felt like, well, I'm not here to hear that story, although it was authentic and real. It just took me down too far, but that's just me. And then lastly, to end on some humor, and I can't let this one go. I'm just going to throw it out there. So take off the rated G version, and let's just go to a soft X. I thought the hidden door was hilarious. It reminded me of like 50 Shades of Grey with a brothel room. So I liked it. It
does go down to the bar.
I'm going down there to get flogged, right? But I thought it was pretty cool. I like you, Brian. I think you're authentic. I think more flow with your story, and it's hard through this monitor. I get that. I'm very different through this monitor myself with my storytelling, but well done. Great improvement from Palm Springs. A lot of thought put into the flow, and I thought your narratives were much better than just sitting in a chair and telling us the stories. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's good. Brian, I thought it was great too. I do agree with Rod on a few points. The kid's story was engaging, but then you moved on to the vision board, and all I could think about, what the hell happened to the kids?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think you have to get that specific on that story for me. You just maybe a shorter setup of things were bad and we were looking to get out of it, and the vision board saved the day. Like Rod said, it kind of I mean, that's a real story that's deep. And like I said, I was more concerned now what's going on with the kids, and you never came back to it, or the vision board never led to getting her kids back where I thought you were going to go with it. So kind of like Rod, that was one thing that could have worked a little better. And I do agree that the beginning was a little choppy. And I have to admit, I started with cartoons when I first started doing my presentation because Jack did it so well. But I think Jack has his audience different. I think there needs to be, so I cut them out completely because I couldn't make it work, but maybe there's just something you say or do right before you start the cartoons instead of just getting into it. Now, granted, you're going to have more of an intimate crowd, so if you've done this before, it might work better for everybody else because it's something they know you do and they can expect it. And I think that's why Jack's works so well. Like I said, he's like, I just started with cartoons, and that's, I'm Jack Canfield, and that's the way it is. If I was a new member to you, it was a little bit of a choppy start. But your stories were great, and I loved your vision board thing at the end too, showing your office and everything like that. I thought that was just a great idea, something that people can walk away from and do right away, is just set up different boards or different ideas. I thought that was excellent. So you definitely connected well. Like I said, I think that kid story just got a little too dark and deep and left me wondering about them more than kind of where you went with it. So that's my input. Otherwise, like Chris said, it was great. I was into it the whole time. So,
all right, thank you.
Okay, I'll start I'll tell you more about what worked well for me, but I just want to make these points. And if anyone strongly disagrees, just because obviously I'm part of this, a little trickier. I think the warm-up, the setup to the beginning of this, why is visualization important? How can it change your life? Athletes have been doing it. Competitive athletes have been doing it for decades. What's the power in it? It's not just that it worked for you or worked for us in this situation, but it's a proven statistic that our brain, our subconscious doesn't know the difference between visualizing something and actually physically experiencing it. So maybe getting them to buy into visualization, or at least a little bit warm up of that's what this point is going to be. I would agree, probably just a little different setup on I think humor is important, especially for you, Brian, to get them lighthearted at the beginning. Maybe we could just find some more visualization related cartoons or humor. When Chris said, where do you fit into this? How does this work for you? I don't know who you were talking to on the phone this week, but you were saying, what am I passionate about? Well, I'm passionate about Joanna. So even that simple of a setup of how did I get to the place where this was important to me? I'm passionate about other people succeeding, and she's one of the most important people in my life. So that's why it's what Chris was talking about. The answer to it that I wrote down was that you said you were passionate about me or passionate about helping other people get where they want to go. I think the kid story is important because it shows how fast you can recover from a really deep hole. I know that's a hard story to tell, and maybe the first time you've done it out loud in a presentation setting. I think the points were all there. I just think a little practice to make it speed it up a little bit. But I think, the detail, the stress of the situation, is important to show exactly, how that really could have tailspin, and maybe even the possible consequences. This could have turned into depression. This could have turned into, something worse, but we got out of it. And this is one of the ways we did is, maybe show a picture of me in the house with the kids, the Christmas picture or something, just to kind of pull that back up. And that's all I had. But obviously it worked well for me. And I think your audience in this case is going to be really impressed with your vulnerability and your layers that you show here. And it's going to help you connect with them, maybe make you more believable to them, because I think they kind of put you on the stage and pedestal and don't really know what your real life's like. So I think this is going to build some serious rapport with the group.
Yeah.
So I have a question for everybody. 2 questions. Did I connect with you, and did I get my message to you? Those 2 things. Because that's what I was trying to go with here. I had 15 minutes. I'm usually in front of a small group setting for this, so I want to make sure with you guys, did I, good, bad, indifferent of what I did I connect with you? Did I gain your attention? And did I get my message across?
I'll speak to that. You definitely connected with me. It took a while for me to get the message, but it did come in at the end, right at the pool photo. I don't know why that wasn't my defining moment. It worked for me because you actually laughed, and it was just authentic from your gut. Yeah. Where at the beginning it was, I better follow Jack's snowman humor. So stay real to yourself, because that's where I connected.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good point. Yeah, you definitely connected with me. Like I said, your stories were engaging, and I did see the power of the vision board. So you got those 2 across for me.
All right, thank you.
Definitely connected for me, and I felt that you got your message across. There's some fine tuning. Look at me, I'm glowing.
Yeah, how close to the sun are you, man? Jesus.
Oh.
My favorite planet is the sun. Carry here.
Well, obviously it connected with me, but to draw me into the story that I already knew and that I didn't exactly know you were going, but I knew all the elements. I was leaned in. I was curious. Being a player in the story, it was a different perspective, but I was very eager to hear what you had to say next or where you were pulling it together. So I think the fact that you could engage me and I wasn't back here judging every slide and questioning your mode, I could look at it from a...
Well, my question to you would be different, Joanna. Did I piss you off on this presentation?
No,
Did I embarrass you on anything?
No, not at all.
I've got a question for Brian, and then you can throw the question back at me. How did you feel during the critical feedback of your group here?
My first feeling was I was feeling defensive because I was getting a little more personal in this, and it's all relevant, great feedback. It fits. Just looking at that, that's right. I've never done it like this before, and I struggle with trying to come up with 15 minutes to talk about anything, and I figured talk about something I have some passion about, what I have passion about. So I'm okay with the feedback, meaning that fits. The feedback that you guys gave me, good and bad, it fits. And I'm okay with that because this is who I am. And that's what I've really struggled with in presentations, and not getting the checklist of doing this versus, did I connect with you? Messy or not messy? Did I connect with you? Did I get my message across? And that's what I was really focused on. If it was just a complete train wreck of 15 minutes, if I had your attention and you got my message, I would have called that a win. So the feedback is absolutely crucial that I need to take a look at, because I think I'm going to use this to roll into the presentation, the next one, that workshop that I do. And all these things, I think I threw a picture of the kids up, where they're at now, that would make a difference. If I had the, obviously the jokes, and with this particular group that I deal with, I got that Canfield stuff, the jokes with that particular audience, I need something. Joanna has seen this before. There's nothing there. There's like lifelessness. When I get a snicker out of somebody, laugh at wow, I sure do starting to like the smell of cocaine, and I get this little snicker in the background. It's like, all right, I got some life in this group. Okay.
Right.
So it may not have worked with you guys in the same way, but I found that it worked with this other group a lot better before I even just something. So
I appreciate the feedback, and I just wanted to personally acknowledge how you sat there and took it without interrupting and trying to defend verbally, although you felt it. And that to me was a sign of maturity, because in all of the workshops that I've been in, everybody wants to say, well, I could have, but I was going to do that, but hey, and what happens is they don't take the feedback and don't use corrective action in improving, right? So as I promised, my feeling back to you guys is I felt defensive, right? I did. So I think this is something that from a psychology thing of human nature that is good to recognize, right?
Yeah.
I could have told a longer story, I could have done this or that, but it's easy to want to pull away from this and say, my defensive posture guards me from improving, therefore I am better than what they said. And that's one of my shortcomings. So as we get more mature in our relationships and we're doing speeches and we're out in the hallways, my hand is raised to give me feedback, because sometimes I don't take it very well. So thanks.
Rod, I just want to say thank you for suggesting that. I think that's an important part of learning this keynote speech, because the idea here is to get personal and you're really trying to share or grow. And I really appreciate this question here. And I think it's something that I want to embed into the piece here and say, look, we're here. What did I like? What would have worked better for me? Keeping that format there. I think I could have been better on that. So I think that's a really important piece, is maybe to have the person who got the feedback. So how do you feel about the feedback? So they can share a little bit of that and grow through that point. So I just want to say thanks for bringing that up.
I wanted to add real quick, when you guys suggested that I change my story and my sorrow and loss when I gave my test presentation to you guys, and I gave it the next few days later, that changed the entire mood of the room. It changed my effectiveness, and it's not something I would have seen, and it's not something that anyone that wasn't already working in this field or learning more about it would have recognized. So yeah, I was a little like, well, that's not the most important part, but it helped me connect to the audience sooner. I was way more effective. So this feedback, I just want to say, when you put it into practice, it's been extremely valuable to me so far.
So I'd like to add to that, Rod, thanks for bringing that up. I've seen so many technically proficient presentations before, and it hit me when Forrest spoke one time and kind of stuttered a little bit on a few things, and it's like, that's Forrest. That's who he is. Don't change that. Don't correct that, because that was my first thought. If Forrest did this, he would sound better. No, but that's his message. That's a part of the message. And I caught myself just in that mindset with that. And also, Rod, to bring up your point where I didn't say anything, I've been in way too many groups, and how it works is, especially in bigger groups, is here's my piece of advice for you, period. And my response is, thank you. No matter what I think, thank you. And write it down. Thank you. It may not apply in the moment, but maybe later. Just listen to it. Don't defend it. So that's something that I've actually been a part of a lot of groups. And while I may be wearing a nice shirt type of thing here, I have my pajama bottoms on. So it's kind of a representation of looks and actuality. So
you've come a long way from the 2 weeks ago white yoga robes. So well,
it'll be back. I was going today, so I thought the robe is right over there.
That's awesome. I think that's a tough segue to go back to anything serious. How dare I try to transition here? But what I find is that as we refine our speaking ability, platform skills, oratorical, whatever you want to call it, but as we refine this content methodology and then try to do a knowledge transfer to the people, whether that be narrative, whether that be technical, whether that be point with a documentary. But it's really important that we can get an inner circle of trust here to say, you know what, I think you can do better there, Rod. I like what you did there, but hear me out. And then kind of a majority critique puts that person in a different direction. I think if we can trust each other and do that, we will get better. What I find in my small circles at work is that the immediate feedback, and I'll close here, the immediate feedback from my people when they're being critiqued is to fill the silence with noise so that their insecurities don't get exposed. And we've got to be bigger than that.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. Good points, guys.
Well, we're all looking to grow in this arena, and creating that safe piece is a really important part of this, because it's tough. It's tough to take a critique, and making sure that we follow that positive format, I think, is critical to it. And I think we're doing a really good job here with that, and we're growing as we do it. And I think there's fine points that we'll be able to tune. But I really feel like, you guys could tell me something, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I agree. That was painful, but I needed to hear it. So I feel that level of comfort for me personally. And I hope everybody gets to that point, because I feel very, very safe in this environment to try things and do things and be okay with getting, let's say, constructive feedback.
I know we're trying to stay on track, but one of the things that I know you and Brian talked about was the idea of this group being a collective of speakers and in a great group of trained, educated, similar messages, or at least similar training from the canceled work. But after seeing everybody go and seeing how we interact, the chemistry that even online we seem to have, I can really picture that bigger picture of us doing a collective speaking and how our styles are different but complementary. And today's the first time, and maybe it's just because we've all been now, that I could see like the 5 of us up on a screen with 5 or 6 other people, presenting the in-betweens of BTS. So I just wanted to comment on that because I knew that was something we were working towards, but I feel very confident that that's happening at a much greater speed than I first thought would be possible.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
There's one other thing I want us to also be aware of. If you can connect in this environment, when you're in a crowd, when you're in an actual meeting with people, it's going to be really strong. I mean, connecting this way, it can be a little wonky. So if you're able to make that connection here and get your message across here, I think it's going to translate extremely well to an actual, a full crowd of an audience of people. So keep that awareness and remember, that is definitely a challenge in this kind of digital media. All right. Any other last kind of things? I know we're running a little over here. Is everybody okay with the 70-minute format? Because I think hearing the feedback is so critical to it. Is everybody okay with us extending the meeting to be 70 minutes? And we actually went over here. We're about 6 minutes over even that. Are people on
fine? I'm totally fine with it.
Okay.
Well, there are some days that I won't be able to do that with certain appointments. So I will have to cut out if that's the case. And that's case by case, week to week. Like right now, I don't have anything scheduled in the morning here today. So I'm okay with that. But in the future, if that does happen, I will just have to bow out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I like it though. The feedback was good.
All right. So I think we've kind of done our gratitude speech, which I already had, but I'll just say it out loud. Guys, I really appreciate this. This really was a great meeting for me. I just felt really connected to everybody and the feedback that they were giving. So I just want to say thank you and I appreciate it. I do want to clarify who's going next week. If I understand, Matt, you've got a conflict, correct?
I do. My wife's out of town and I have a 1-year-old at home. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to be on the computer at 7 a.m. Is there any way someone else could go next week and I can maybe just watch it later if it's recorded?
Yeah, I can go. I've got these modules that I have to present, so I've got material that is being prepared, so that's no problem for me.
Okay.
All right, so it'll be me and Joanna then.
Great.
For next week, it'll be us, and then Matt, we can schedule you for the following week. And maybe that's best to have one speaker there so we can have a little time to loop back since everybody will have gone through. Well, we've only gone through once, so we'll go through. I don't know, we'll figure it out. All right, so next week, Chris, Joanna, any parting thoughts before we head on for the rest of our day?
I have a question. Is it the same format, just a different topic, or what is next week?
Same format. You can improve on the speech you have, or you can do something else. I'm going to do something else.
Gotcha.
Mine will be different as well.
It really depends on, look, it's up to you. I think there's benefit in doing a new topic, and there's also benefit of saying, okay, I'm trying to really perfect this thing. I've retooled it based on the feedback you had, and I want to give it again. So it's really whatever you want or what you're trying to achieve in your goals. Is that fair?
That's fair.
That's good.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
I am putting the vision Joanna put in my head. That's the vision I had for this, of us all being on stage. And I'll just add one last vision for you. The movie Now You See Me. I'm putting that the image. We're all on stage. I love Matt. He's so cute. Oh, Joanna, I just warms my heart. Chris is so funny. Oh, you know who I like? Oh, Brian's such a heartthrob. Oh, yes, I like him. It's like the Beatles, people. People will hear the message differently from each one of us, but together, it's going to be really powerful. Thank you all so very much. Love you all.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
Peace out. Yep.
Peace in the Middle East.